get over just how small this thing is. It's just a little bit bigger than my iPhone 8 Plus, so that's kind of give you an indication of the size. Fingers crossed that I don't have to rewire anything, because the aftermarket radios more or less tend to have similar 16-pin connectors, so we'll find out. Keep our fingers crossed for that. Let's see how it works. So while we're looking for a radio station, there's a connection here for GPS. Looks like a little antenna. And on the back side, I've got a couple of connectors for all the audio-visual stuff, including the auxiliary in if you want to run a hard wire to an iPod. And the kit comes with 2 USB ports, which are just a simple plug in the back. I like it. It's real easy. Now I'm going to spend a lot of time and just learn how to use this. Let's check one more thing. Is the touchscreen by finger like a phone, or is it by pressure like an old touchscreen? It's by finger. Yes. I don't like touchscreens that just go by pressure, because anything you bump into it will touch the screen. They preloaded Chinese music on here. That's so cute. I love that. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. What makes this really cool is that it's basically an Android tablet with 16 gigabyte memory, 1 gigabyte RAM. It's running Android 6.0, quad-core T3K 2001M, and you could do portable hotspot. You could manage your apps through all this, which is so cool. It's got the Google Play Store, so if you connect this, I might be able to download Words with Friends and just be playing this while I'd have to be getting data from my phone probably. But this is just too cool. It's a whole tablet that's now a radio. Whoa, the future. What are we waiting for? So I'm going to set up my phone so that I can listen to my music on this thing. And if I ever sell this car, this little baby's coming with me. Let's see if I have recently opened apps. Look at that. There's going to be a big learning curve here, because I'm not really sure how to pair a phone to a tablet so that I can have a mushroom wallpaper. That's just too much. Okay, that's for the USB port, auxiliary. So I'm sure if I connect my phone to this USB port, I'm going to be getting signal in through here, and then I'll be able to play whatever I want. However, I'd also like to know about Bluetooth music. Brilliant. It's got a pin, it's got a name. Let me stop recording on my phone so I can connect my phone. So as I'm navigating the menus, there's a lot of great stuff here, but one of the most important ones is going to be the instructions tab. It'll give you everything you need to know, how to use this, including how to set up the Bluetooth. Some of the English isn't really great. It's not sloppy, certainly. It's very thorough, and there's a few little differences here and there, but we're flexible enough that we can make sense of it all. It's actually really quite useful stuff here. Now, there's a lot of features I'm going to have to learn. The learning curve will be steep, but there's a lot of great stuff here. And I am just astonished by this radio. Tire pressure monitoring system? Whoa. This is stuff I don't even have on this car. Well, time to mount it, and then I'll do a final review of everything put back together. Well, now that I've had the car on the road for a few miles and I get to tinker with the radio while I'm driving, I get to listen to how it sounds, I have a less favorable opinion of it. And by that I mean, I don't like it. First things first, I can't get this USB port to work. There's a second spot on the back. I might be able to plug it in there and go, but let's just say that the instructions there aren't any instructions on where I plug in the USB port. The ports are all just about the same size. There's two USB cables, and there's 2 USB ports that are probably the same size. So that means, I could be in the wrong port, or you're just able to plug in 2 identical USB cables. in the rear. And when I say port, I mean they have the little four cable square little connector that looks just like all the other white connectors on the back side of this radio. That's, you know, I'm willing to overlook that because I still have Bluetooth capabilities, but that leads me to the next biggest problem with this radio. The Bluetooth is way too quiet, and I know that because when I'm playing the preloaded music that, you know, comes straight from China here, I'm able to get great quality, great volume, and, you know, it's no problem. It's maxing out the speakers. So when you turn it on Bluetooth, it ends up being really quiet, and you turn it up so much that it starts buzzing because it's losing audio quality. And that's another thing, is there's constant buzzing at any volume via the Bluetooth, which is just probably a bad connection. Now, I'm not the kind of guy that would tell you all the wonderful things about Bluetooth. Like, I don't know if this is a Bluetooth 4.0 or 3.0 or 2.0. It should be pretty up to date, but I just don't know because I was asked to do this. I didn't go out and decide to review it myself. Whatever Android 6.0 is running, I don't know if that tells you anything for Bluetooth, but yeah, like, here's my consensus. If you were to summarize my entire review in one sentence, it's all of the features are exciting, but they're not worth it if you can't get the basics right. And by that I mean be able to adjust the volume for the Bluetooth separately. If there's a volume discrepancy, like some radios, when you're jumping between FM radio to CD player to auxiliary, it gives you the option of adjusting the volume so that you don't get that sort of volume shock when you go from really quiet CD and then turn on FM radio and it's really loud. It does not help to have all the fanciness if you can't get basic entertainment out of this thing. I haven't delved into any of the extra features here. I mean, I'm having fun with the mushroom wallpaper, and I like that it's more like a tablet and you can actually change these apps in the front, because this one has now become my favorite button. You just hit that and it puts on the screensaver. Another thing, just in terms of quality, the touchscreen on the side here, these are not illuminated, so you can't see them. Thankfully, you do get your back, home, and recent apps buttons up here, so if you're an Android user, you're familiar with that. But in the dark, you just can't see these guys here. That's okay, because you do kind of quickly learn where your volume plus and minus are. You don't have to worry about back and home if you have these buttons up top. The issue, however, is that volume minus is right on center, but if you hit on center for volume plus, it is not going up. You have to get right between the volume plus and the back button for it to actually get into the volume. And it's still finicky. I cannot figure out exactly where volume plus is. Whether it's a defective unit or just cheap. You have to kind of fat finger the whole thing too. So anyway, what I end up doing is, as soon as I hit volume minus and the screen pops up, I can slide. And that's how I end up changing the volume. So there's that little bit of learning. You can kind of work around the problems. But like I said, having quiet Bluetooth and low quality Bluetooth is not gonna cut it. I don't like this. So I tried a reset. It didn't do anything. I went through and I made sure the equalizer was in a good spot, and frankly, it didn't make any difference. I also went and sometimes you want the input volume, like if you're plugging in an iPod and you turn the iPod all the way up, it'll lose a lot of audio quality. So you want that down to like maybe 80% maximum. And I did that with the phone, and it was still just too quiet. I wish I could demonstrate for you, but just take my word for it. It's too quiet. Other little things that would just be nice to get right is there's nothing here. There's nothing displaying while you have music going. There's no song, title, artist, album, a photo, nothing. Like, that's very basic stuff. Whether you're playing from iTunes, whether you're playing from Spotify, even YouTube, sometimes you should be able to see something. There's no indicator that anything's going on. All I do is just press these buttons, hope for the best. And sometimes when you close out of this and you go back to home, it will stop your music, so you have to go back, try it again, and then hope it doesn't stop the second time. Other than that, I haven't even tried the radio.
should be, blessed be your name. Blessed be your name.
And that's how you mute. So does this add to the value of my Miata, considering it's almost 30 years old? Yeah, it does. Would I replace my 2012 BMW radio with this? Nah, I wouldn't. Because it's not... For the price, this is cool, but it ain't gonna compete with OEM stuff at all. One more thing to note is I haven't tried having a conversation, but I did call my own phone, and as I was in the voicemail settings, I was not able to get this to respond well. I would type in 1010. I don't even remember my voicemail passcode, but I would put in 1010 and it would say, sorry, 11 is not a valid code. So it was skipping numbers. I don't know if that means you have to go really slowly or if it's just an issue of this doesn't really communicate well. But it makes calls. That's cool. Let's see if it'll get, you'll have your call registry. You'll have probably a contacts list as well. So that's it. I'm sure there's a lot of cool stuff there, but my gripe is not there. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I really don't know what else to say. There's a ton of great features on this, but it just doesn't matter if you can't get the basics, you know? At least I have my spinning mushroom.